From the impacts of overpopulation to debate of climate change. Stay tuned to number 1 to find out the 10 biggest environmental issues plaguing humanity. Number 10. Manifest Destiny. In the early days of the United States, the immigrants that became colonists, that became members of the country, were all located in the eastern part of the U.S. But then, they needed more elbow room to grow, so they went to the middle and western parts of the country. They believed it was their right to do so, even calling it manifest destiny. And while that kind of expansion is technically stopped in that regard, humanity is still expanding as a whole, and that's putting the rest of the world at risk. By this, I mean that our world population is still growing. We're currently at around 8 billion in population, and we're running out of places to expand. And so we're chopping down forests and other environmentally needed areas in order to try to make more room for humanity. This is very dangerous because the trees we cut down are providing oxygen that we need to survive. Not to mention, they are a big part of our ecosystem. Then, by chopping down lots of forests, we're putting animals in danger by destroying their habitats. The more we expand, the more danger we're putting our planet in, and yet we're still expanding. Number 9. Trashing our world. Easily one of the biggest current threats right now is in regards to all the trash and waste that is just being stockpiled in the world. While many items can be recycled, many don't take the time to do that process. Or the items that they have aren't recyclable at all, and that causes even more problems because without something to do with them, we literally just throw them away. If you go across the United States and other parts of the world, you'll see massive landfills that are nothing more than trash heaps that collect more and more junk every single day, week, month, and year. And the problem is, the landfills are getting full. So what happens when we don't have anywhere left to put our trash? Another trash problem can be found in the Pacific Ocean, where a near literal continent of trash resides. Truly, trash from the coastlines and other incidents have caused a plethora of trash to come together and just reside in the water. You can see it go on for miles because of the massive amounts of it. And while people are talking about it, they're not doing anything about it. Slowly but surely, that trash will destroy us, even if we don't recognize it. Remember the Pixar film WALL-E? That might be our future if we're not careful. Number 8. Lack of biodiversity. Before we tackle this one, take a moment to like this video and join the Zero to Hero community by subscribing to our channel. Our world is full of life, wondrous and beautiful life, and that's amazing. But as time goes on, a very disturbing trend is being found. The amounts of different life in the world is fading. This abundance of different life is called biodiversity, and it's what helps make our planet special. However, because of the expansion of humanity and the destruction of various habitats, the world is starting to lose more and more species of animals. According to the World Wildlife Foundation, the last 3 decades has cost the world 27% of its biodiversity, and if that trend continues, it could spell true disaster for the world. Why is that? Simple. Animals help make the world what it is. That's just a fact. And whether it's the big cats, bats, insects, fish, or something else entirely, they all have a role to play in making the world flow and grow. But when you start to lose that, the whole world suffers. A particular species that is suffering is bees. Without bees, a lot of the flower population doesn't get pollinated, which would spell utter disaster for farmers and crops, among those who grow various flowers for other reasons. We need to protect the balance in our world, or else it'll get wiped out, and we will all suffer. Number 7. Deforestation. A great example about keeping the balance of our world safe is stopping deforestation. Every day, acres upon acres of trees, forests, and jungles are being chopped down, and all because we have a massive need for wood, as we use it for various things in our world, including paper and other things that we use every single day. But cutting down the forests is harming us. It's stopping the trees from producing oxygen, which we need to survive. It's harming the habitats of animals and forcing them to adapt. But if there's no forest left to adapt in, what are they supposed to do? And it should be noted that while new trees are being planted every day, they're going to take a long time to get to the point where they can help restore the environment. So if we don't change our act soon, they may never make it to that point. Number 6. Overpopulation. As I've mentioned before, the planet has a lot of people on it, 8 billion or so as of November 2018. This may seem like something that wouldn't affect the environment outside of expansion, but you need to think about this on another level. Mainly, how people are surviving on the planet itself. Yes, we do need housing to stay warm and stay safe from the elements, but we also need food, water, medicine, and other things that can only be created from the things in our environment. And our world has a limit as to how much of everything can be produced. Even right now, farmers are dealing with issues of getting enough crops to fulfill the demands, especially with things like wildfires and droughts causing serious damage to farmlands. And then there's places like Africa, where technology isn't exactly widespread, so they have limitations on what they can provide to their own families and themselves. And let's not forget there are billions of people who use cars, and that's pumping toxic chemicals into the atmosphere, which is coming down and harming us in numerous ways. And a big reason for that is because of how big our population is. It may seem like just a number, but I assure you it's much more than that. Number 5. Extinction. I've talked about the animals of the world a lot so far, but let's focus on one thing we literally can't take back: extinction. Because of various factors, there are animals out there that are completely disappearing. Whether it be by human hands, like elephants and rhinos, or changing conditions in the forests and waters of the world. Certain animals are slowly going away, and every single one that does is causing more harm to the environment. Everything is connected in our world, even if you don't see it at first. So when things start to get plucked out by extinction, it affects other animals, forces them to adapt, and that causes its own series of problems. The biggest issue here is that just about every animal on Earth is in danger of being extinct in one form or another, which is why we need to rally together to stop things like pollution, poaching, and deforestation, so that they can live their lives and we can benefit from them. Number 4. Climate change. I know this is a massive topic for debate and one of the biggest topics in the world today, and that is climate change. Our world is warming up slowly but surely, and that's causing a lot of problems. Slowly but surely. One of the obvious ones is that polar ice caps are melting, or at least changing, which is causing the ocean levels to rise. Plus, the oceans themselves are getting warmer, which can harm the fish if not stopped. And let's not forget about us humans. We're the cause of the climate change, and the increase in the temperature is affecting the weather of our world. And if it continues, it's going to have a ripple effect that'll continue on until we just can't survive any longer. Thankfully, steps are being taken to help curb this, but if it's going to make a difference is anyone's guess. Number 3. Lack of water. As Willy Wonka once said, "Water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink." And that's a very good way to describe certain situations in our world right now, because for many people, getting water to drink is a harsh endeavor, if it's even possible at all. Granted, if you live in certain places, getting water is as easy as going to the tap, or if you prefer more pure water, you can go to the store and buy some bottled water. But for many, many countries in the world, that's just not an option. 780 million people, if not more, have no access to clean water at all because of their location. Africa is a big place where this happens because there's not much modernization outside of a few key areas. They have to walk for miles just to get some water, and then they have to walk it back to give it to their families. And that's if the water's even good at all. Water's being contaminated on a wide scale, and that's affecting the health of not just humans, but the animals in the water. If it doesn't get cleaned up, we're all gonna suffer. Number 2. Public health. You might be thinking, what does public health have to do with the environment? The answer is everything. Think about it. There are many ways to get sick, yes. But one of the easiest ways is to catch something from the environment that you're in, whether it be you breathing in pollen from a field or inhaling smoke from an area full of smog. There are areas all over the world that find themselves in deplorable conditions via one reason or another. There are whole parts of China that have people walking around with face masks because the area is covered in smog. The condition of the environment is the reason for this. Between air pollution, water pollution, trash being everywhere, and more, it's causing an unsafe living environment. And when an environment is unsafe, that means its people aren't safe. Plus, there's a movement right now that is asking for vaccines against key diseases and sicknesses to be banned, even though it's clear that the vaccines are helping people and not hurting them like many believe. And yet, people are choosing not to use them, which is putting the health of even more people at risk. Number 1. Pollution. While climate change may be something that everyone is thinking about in one form or another, the reason that it's a problem at all is because of the pollution that is running rampant in the world. Let's start with the obvious one: pollution from cars. Internal combustion engines may be great for powering cars, but they aren't good when it comes to protecting the environment. Between cars, trucks, motorcycles, and other such contraptions, the air of our world is getting polluted slowly but surely, and it's affecting us. But it goes beyond that. As noted before, the trash of our world is just being thrown around like it won't affect anything, when it's affecting everything that we do. The land, the water, the animals, and us get hurt by such pollution. There are people trying to stop it, that's for sure, but if it's not more enforced soon, and if better solutions aren't found for things like the engine, we're going to be polluting ourselves to our own demise. What do you think is the biggest environmental issue facing humanity? Let us know in the comments below, and take care.